now on. Jesus, you're white.
All right, well, we're going back into it, folks. It looks like the match is live. NRG are going to start off on the CT side this time on our final map of the series, and Complexity will be going on to offense. They'll start off on the T side here on Cobblestone. Let's jump into it and find out who gets to join Team Liquid on Saturday.
We'll get underway. T-side start. This time it was a knife round for map 3. T-side start for Complexity as a result. Death.
Oh,
that's pretty good. Goes, hey, I see one. I'll just chase him down. Yeah, get the red off the bull because there's blood on the wall behind him. It's Breezy and Eng that will at least hold the position, and successfully so. Android and Slemmy will try and pull around back. Smokes down toward the doorway and doing so with a flank. In effect, for Rico, who's changed his name for map 3, perhaps some superstition in that as Breeze will take out Slemmy. It gives them a chance on the retake that has already been completed because, again, I say chance, although they were in a 4 versus 2, they did not have kits, so it could have been elongated and drug out, if you will, from the Complexity side.
But it ends up going very much into the favor of NRG, and in fact, they only lose Fugly. Get very close to taking down Rico too, but in clean fashion, that's a good start for them. It's exactly what they need if they want to start racking up some rounds on this CT side, and now they'll just have to look to build on that. Complexity did get the plan, so I'm not expecting anything too aggressive in terms of the buy for the second round. In fact, it's exactly what I would expect. 5 PT50s, and that's pretty much going to be it. Meanwhile, for NRG, they will completely they will be buying up in its entirety here, and trying to stop Complexity more than anything else from just getting the second plants that they'll have a weaker buy on the third round, should they decide to go for that, of course.
Should they decide.
Some many teams have been bypassing the third round buy for some reason, so I don't think Complexity will do it, but I've noticed a few of them starting to...
There's actually been teams that are like full saving in the second round even without the plant and bringing out like a single AK with SMGs around it, depending on who gets kill distribution. We saw it at, I think, G2 did it at Epicenter in the third place game. And Henry had a rather long philosophical chat. I mean, he does teach Economy 101, so. But about that situation and why it would be beneficial, and it actually worked in that situation. So it could be something some of the teams that are trying to establish different meta or be rather less predictable start to lean toward. Speaking of leaning, they'll lean on Cirque. He takes some shots with the M4 at range, but it's tagged down to 25. In fact, taken down by Def altogether, so they'll have to get one of the 3 other weapons, the FAMAS or 2 SMGs, toward it to grab the M4 and carry it back over. Just Def to find, and that should give them lots of opportunity to get closer inside of the site. Bomb down as well toward the bottom of middle.
Def is going to be left as the last man standing here, trying to find some sort of impact, pushing out from A-Long, and oh, there we go, gets the kill on Rico at least, but besides that, it's still a very solid win for NRG here, and they'll move in just to trade out from the MP9 over to the UMP. Still stick with that gun. Instead, going into kind of the first gun round here, Complexity, of course, buying into it. They will not have the secondary plan to support it, so they are going to be a bit limited on utility, but to account for that, though, they just have Slummy buy down to a Galil so that they can at least get 1 or 2 Molotovs into the fray here, and you could see that on both Slummy and Def. Still decent build-up, and meanwhile, on NRG's side of things, they're looking a lot better utility-wise, but they also have to sacrifice a couple of their guns, and Jay specifically going down to FAMAS and Fugly onto UMP there.
Slummy getting in position for a boost, potentially, should anyone want to join him, and crossing over at Belong. No one got there fast enough, unfortunately, to do so safely without being potentially spotted by, in this case, it would be Fugly, but he's backed off with a smoke. Drop always going to be evaluated, so pretty standard default. Keep an eye on the default and how it develops, because I'm curious as to how much pressure gets applied onto the A site. Less pressure, the faster the rotation toward middle, and the less chance for a split through drop. Android's at least ascertained that the first room will drop. The drop room itself, I suppose, is clear. He'll drop down with an AK trying to mask his noise and spamming toward E-Box.
Breeze is going to end up flashing it regardless, though. So Android will keep his wits about him as he gets prepared for a potential push from the CT side. I don't think that they'll actually end up deciding to go into this, though. They're playing very passively, and we are starting to see signs of rotates leaning over towards this B site here, too, now. They've started to establish some control. The second flash goes in towards drop, but a 2-man play from Complexity is going to easily be able to hold on to that. Even better, they don't take any deaths. They don't really take any damage here. Fugly's going to look to stop this from the outside, but again, you can only get that 1 kill. The trades continue to go back and forth, but for now, it favors Complexity, and they have a chance to seal the deal if they can get that kill into Rico, though not the case, and Def just barely gets that reload off in time to find Cirque. Now leading Rico alone in a 1v3. He finds the first kill, but loses half of his HP and taking that first duel here. So now getting out of the site's going to be even harder to accomplish, and there we go. Slemmy shuts it down at range from up on top of platform to give the first round over here to Complexity.
Sloppy exchanges, all things considered. It got quite chaotic in the mid-round, but getting drop early and getting 2 players down as well. As soon as they repeat when Ye and Android, excuse me, were already inside of the position, it was going to be a massive problem to try and hold off the site at that point in time. Fugly did best he could with an SMG, but only got one and was traded out. So if he'd found two in that position, you might have given it a chance to Complexity to pull the, or excuse me, to NRG to pull the round back. Instead, though, Complexity find the first on the T side with the third round buy, as you mentioned. It was a possibility with the early bomb plant. Slemmy this time will be alone in evaluating what's going on at B, and we will start to see some A pressure. Now they need to figure out exactly what's left over for weapons because Fugly doesn't hold up. Shots out, start tag, backed off already.
They'll move themselves back over here towards A long now as can hopefully jump back into the game in a second here. Complexity's still yet to make any serious moves though across the map. They've got their players split up pretty evenly right now, but definitely favoring an A-long style of play. And this works out well considering NRG's own stack of players too. They've got three of their players stacked over here towards A, along with one of the rifles, I believe. And then, actually, no, excuse me, neither of the rifles are sitting over here at A right now. So it's a bit of a vulnerable setup here towards A, as they're primarily holding it with CZs and a Deagle. The thing is, though, is that the CZs are both positioned together in sort of a cross-spray angle over here towards A-long, so if Complexity does decide to go all in, well, they could find some pretty massive impact here, and actually it's a little bit of confusion as they let them jump out in the open. Didn't even see Rico getting into that position because of the confusion from the flashbangs, and oh, even a greater follow-up from Rico there. He's going to be able to pick up one, goes for more, and he will find at least one additional kill while Breeze mops up the other one. It's a clean win from NRG, and that's exactly what they needed to reattain control of this matchup.
The fact that they did that with only 2 guns bought up at the start, that's just an absolute catastrophic meltdown from Complexity, not finding any space, not even getting a single kill and walking into an absolute trap. That's really well done from Rico as well. 7-2, he sits at the top. First time we've seen him near the top of the leaderboard. Yes, it's early, but good start. And I was about to say as well, if they lose that last round with the 2 guns bought up and they start to get an economical crisis, because Cirque, we know, needs to get out the AWP. It doesn't need to. We've seen rifle contribution, but on this map in particular, in terms of how the rules are defined, needs to get out the AWP. If they lost all that economic advantage early and we're constantly on the back foot, that would be a pretty serious deficit, I feel like. He'll stick with the rifle here, which is the right thing to do. He's up against pistols. There's no need to get too aggressive. But Yay, by the way, has an AK. And Slemdogger threw that to him. Slemdogger. I can't talk anymore.
It's all good. The day's almost done.
Is it?
Yeah.
The night is still young, Blue.
That's true. 9 o'clock finish is actually a relatively early finish.
Well, that is a good point. We're in Studio 40. I think we have to be out by 10 o'clock according to the CBC rules. However, you can join us for the rest of the weekend. That's Studio 40, downtown Toronto. Coming from 25 John Street. And if you have tickets, you can be in the audience.
Yes, you do need to buy them online in advance, I think, but they're only $10 a day. So if you guys are interested, you can go ahead over and
do it. I'll hang out with you.
Find more information.
I probably won't hang out with you, but I will be here in spirit hanging out with you as I am backstage doing work. That counts, I think.
I would hope so.
It's a good sales pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. So, let's see here. Complexity getting ready. Now with time getting sort of low. There's still plenty of time, of course, to set themselves up, but they've got 3 down drop already. One more is going to be joining them, I believe, in a second here. So, they'll be ready to execute. The thing is, though, again, you have to remember that they are working with essentially just pistols for the most part and one singular AK. I like that little boost up that we've been seeing more and more players do here to try and find the player that's below windowsill. And it's going to work out perfectly. This move is a 2-man totem pole to be able to pick up that kill. They find one more as well. The trades, though, still favoring NRG, at least for right now. And it looks like they'll be brought down to just 1 at the end of the day. ANJ looking to clutch this out 1v2. The good news, though, is that he holds the bomb under his control, but getting dinked is not going to help his case. And PTR will shut it down as Complexity upset right back at NRG, just as they had done the same to them in the last round.
Surprised they got that far. As soon as Ye got tunnel vision and wrapped around toward Rock with the single AK, at the time I thought that was it. He's down. He's gone. He's traded out immediately. That negates most of the threat. But the fact that NRG couldn't get control of drop room early enough and they kept contesting one after another, they didn't really give themselves trade potential. They made it far too easy walking into a choke point where they could have just sat back and contained. They had the advantage at range with rifles, and I don't think they read that correctly at all. So as you say, steal it right back. NRG, the same problems I previously said that they'd nullified, reemerge. And they'll do so now against 4 AK-47s and Android X23 to be specific. I'm still waiting for that download on my Android. I think it's some sort of sophisticated operating version. What do they call that? iOS versions that probably helps control the simulator, I'm told.
I have no clue.
The simulation that Anders controls.
Oh,
Maybe
yeah.
he runs it on Android X23. On his smart. Never mind, Blue. Look, if you were following along from the start, you would have been there with me, but I get it. It's fine.
You lost me after
We'll
the
take
first
it back
two
to
sentences.
kindergarten level for you. He has a UMP. That's where I was going with that.
Gotcha. Okay.
The point that I started 10 minutes ago? Yeah, we'll get back to that now.
All right. So Complexity will get ready to go for the B execute here in just a few moments. For NRG, they're going to have to quickly move their players back the other way. I'll be able to put them into the site in time, but it's still a matter of just knocking out some upgraded pistols here, as we can see. Android, oh, actually, okay. Breeze escaping with 2 on his own. Fugly still has a position to play off of here, too.
No
Sitting
way,
from behind the
come on.
rock. Breeze getting an additional kill. Slemmy trading that back out, but now it's an even 2v2. Slemmy struggling to find that first kill, but I think they've got it pretty much secured now, unless Fugly can show up with some massive heroic effort here. He'll peek that back out, and in an attempt to evacuate, PTR will take him down, securing it for Complexity, and now tying us up at 3-3. But quite a costly round that ended up being from what was looking like it was going to be a pretty straightforward execute up until things actually got started there.
Held it together, but my God, overlooked Breezy entirely. He finds 3 quick kills. I was thinking, you even heard me say it, come on out loud, because I was thinking, no way, there's another round where Pistols win this. And it's sloppy Counter-Strike. I have to say, they're not checking corners. They're not being considerate of multiple facets and angles. Ye is very explosive, I have to say, from an AK standpoint. I think there's more to watch in Ye, and could be a name that North America needs to get to know more affectionately early. I think he might have a bright future. Speaking of, he's going to get aggressive down toward the entry position. Smoked off, so he can't go through it entirely on his own. He has a team behind him and a lot of utility and flashes available, but no sense walking into another pistol stack position because they are, although spread 3-2, quite close in proximity to the broken wall on entry.
Still remaining very, very quiet, though, as they have to prepare themselves to move in upon this entry and NRG. Well, they do have the appropriate stack this time, reading into it over on B well in advance, so they have all of their players here.
Yeah, look at the minimap. 10 players within like a tiny quarter of it.
So the only question remaining is, does Complexity choose to call this off due to that presence? Or are they still going to stick with the plan? You can see they sent Slemmy back to check for options outside here.
I don't know why he goes that far back. He should be able to win the duels on rifles, and he goes the long way around and watch for flanks. That doesn't show much confidence in me. Doesn't get enough information in time. Fugly, 1 SMG inside of the site, shuts down and also digs up Def. He's done massive damage, and Breezy again from range on the Deagle is able to pull this down to just a 1-man deficit. Still the CTs are raining out, and they take the bomb as well. Rico does get traded back. Good shot from Breezy. It's down to a 1-on-1, and he's got HP advantage on his side. Armor as well, but can't get close enough to find a rifle. Once more, they've let this fall by not getting information early, and that's why I would have Slemmy was a little bit more aggressive in trying to ascertain what was going on toward A. Def's going to try and be as clever as he dare with this and recovering the bomb, but the position may be advantaged by Breezy, but I'm not 100% sure that they're going to spot each other just based on timing strictly as Def gets in position. Breezy finds it. Pistol win again for NRG, and Breezy, the man behind the plan, because he got 3 in the last round. They couldn't close it. This time they do, and it's he that does it himself. This, it's very sloppy from Complexity.
Yeah, the man, the myth, the legend does it again here. 3 quick kills in the Deagle for him. We'll take a look at those now. Just deleting some of these players so quickly, and unfortunately for Def, just not able to outmaneuver him there at the end. He gets the better of him in the 1v1. He's already at low HP too, so it was an easy 1v1 at the end of it for Breeze. Only needed to hit that 1 bullet to win it, and it all came down to the positioning, which he comes out on top of. So NRG steal the lead back again, and that puts Complexity into a very awkward buy, as you can see now. 2 Galeals and pistols besides that, but we've seen many upsets in the past on buys like this, so wouldn't count it completely out of the realm of possibility that Complexity would be able to
The scary
win this
part
round.
for me is they go for a double op. As soon as they miss key points, key choke points, and key shots, the pistols rush them down. And the one time they invest massively, I could just, based on the way this game's going, I just see them losing it.
Cirque already getting tagged a little bit there as he is forced to fall back out from A-long. We're not going to see any drastic consequences from him falling back just yet. Complexity really just kind of playing around with that there, trying to get the opera to fall back. So they succeed in that goal. Now it's about actually figuring out where this hit's going to go. And Complexity themselves don't necessarily have the plan figured out just yet. They've got themselves split up across the map pretty heavily, although it is looking like they're probably going to favor towards drop here a little bit. They have 3 guys stacked up on top of that currently. And they're going to move the players at long at a position here in a second too, as they will get ready to change up their spots and find the new position to play off of here.
Smoke for Slemmy to the doors. Take that back. I don't know my angles on cobblestone, apparently. That's going to cover off Romeo and Juliet. Specifically Juliet. She was the one in the window. The boys are always desperate. Sir, good shot. Takes down Slummy. Rico shuts out Def. So the guns this time taking control early. Peter's gone undetected, going, getting in behind. CZ75 kill. Ye follows it up with a Galil, and now Peter has position over top of Cirque. The double op is dropped. It's just A&J and Fugly to pull it back in a 1 versus 2. Again, it's about map control and positions overlooked.
PTR that gets himself into a very secure position, but he's going to continue to adventure out. He's going to play aggressively here. Gets the first kill. Can he transfer the spray? Unfortunately not. ANJ will take him down after the fact, and that still secures the round from NRG. But once again, it's made very expensive off of just a minimalist buy. ANJ getting a nice little cheeky spread onto the floor there.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd be super proud about clutching in that situation, but yes, you won the round. No, it should never have gone that far.
Yeah. So Complexity, again, get very, very close to upsetting. This time, though, it's not necessarily a massive success. They do keep the money low for NRG. They do keep this game relatively close at a 5-3 scoreline. But again, they just can't justify forcing into this round fully, so they are going to be working with a majority of Deagles again, I think. There's at least three Deagles, maybe a fourth one gets spot up there, too, on the table. So they're going to look to try and do some damage this time.
5-3 in one of the most unexpected and unorthodox starts to a game we've had in this event so far. It's just been one day. Let's not get too far ahead in reading into the depth of the event thus as we sit. However, it is just pistols again for Complexity, so naturally that means they're going to win the round.
Based off of logic so far, anyway.
3 Deagles, 2 P250s, a boost up. Rico's going to watch down toward bottom of middle. A one and done position. Has to fall off if they peek from bottom mid. It has to jump down into the depths of the ramp if they wrap around from long and are able to take out his teammate. Watching from the APC, that's Cirque on the op. Single op this time, but again, Cirque has to be the one to wield it. He went down last time, getting flanked out by PTR. This time, no mistake, takes out Ye. Position for Rico. He's going to stay up there as well. Shovels to the right, so does elongate the angle. It keeps him alive long enough as Def took Cirque. That's exactly what he had to do, drop down into mid immediately after.
These last two players both trying to sneak out from the A-long angle here too, but one already dead on the ground. The last one just trying to escape to at the very least get the plant so they can get some extra money. Can Rico chase him down in time? No, not even close. So they'll be able to get the plant, but unfortunately won't be able to come even close to clutching that situation. Round will still easily be won by NRG, but at the very least, Complexity did get that extra cash going into the next round.
Cash is good. I like Cash. Good map. We didn't see it in this series though, so I don't know what you're talking about. Don't try and follow my humor. It'll just give you a tumor. If I'm completely honest. It's just accept it. So 6-3, they do get money back up. PTR will be on the AWP as well. So T-sided up. Will they contest toward long and try and get Cirque pushed back early? They've been successful actually in taking that position at hay bales. Whether by utility or simply showing a presence in Cirque not hitting the aggressive shot. So there is a chance that they can start to look for executions toward the A site based on the fact that they're getting map control. But I'm curious as to see how they utilize the op with Peter at this point in time.
As it remains spread out, however, as they continue to play into a default here at the beginning of the round. No major actions being taken just yet in terms of their ability to move in and take map control. NRG pretty much playing into the same type of style here. Usual opper extended out from A long. It's going to slowly kind of move back here. Continue to watch the angle. In the event that he gets pressured, he has a quick escape route back into the A site. 3 committed to B, and then you have the 1 player at door in A that can quickly rotate to the other site if needed to. Very standard CT play style being exercised at this point by NRG. And Complexity continue to look for, oh, that was almost a great pre-fire from Cirque. However, Android gets some work done. Meanwhile, over here at drop, he's able to find 2 players down on the ground. Wow, A&J quickly gets a trade. However, Complexity go right back into their dominant form over here on the A site with Slemmy finding Rico at the door. So now you're looking only at Cirque to defend things here.
Shots behind A&J as they all walk out, lined up, can't get the backs turned in time. I thought he would get at least a double spray down. He's only good for 1 and a good response from Slemmy. Puts us at 6-4. Good response, therefore, from Complexity. Again, though, look how fast they push back Cirque. Yeah, okay, you mentioned it, and it is significant. Android got 2 kills off site, which instantly put them on the back foot, and part of the reason I think Cirque backed off so quickly at long, but already smoked off in the angle, had no chance to even get a pre-fired shot in. He didn't have a fight, an argument in the fight toward long, so I think there's something in that. If he's not going to be able to win there on the AWP, be dynamic. You have to be dynamic on Cobblestone and get it toward B side and maybe get a rifle up there instead. It's pistols already. What do you reckon?
Another 4-man stack on the B site, however, so good potential chance of trying to at least do some damage to Complexity if history ends up repeating itself that we've seen so far in this series. The teams have slowly kind of gotten away from these more wonky rounds where there have been massive upsets off the pistols, but they haven't gone away completely. There's still a good chance we at least see a few impactful kills going out against Complexity here to make the round somewhat close. Don't want to completely give away the possibility for NRG to upset it either, but see here, yeah, mistakes like that, yay. Almost getting his head clipped off there. Thankfully, the deagle shots are not necessarily on point. So he'll just quickly pop off the smoke and back away while spotting a few players here. Rico also gets very close to finding a kill, brings Slemmy down to about a third of his HP. However, Slemmy will very much come out on top of the fight, and now we see the full-out AXQ moving in. Def almost caught with a knife in hand there. He's quickly switched back over. Find these pickups for himself on his own, but has to kind of look everywhere here, trying to paint some targets, and they do get it done a little bit messy on the way in, but they do manage to execute everyone from NRG without losing any of their own, and that's exactly what they need.
I'm actually impressed Andrew hit. I was saying, oh my god, I thought he was just going to whiff on that entire clip, but still sorry, Magazine, before I get called out really quickly for saying clip. Does manage to hold on. We get back to 6-5. 6 seems to be the magic number of CT sides so far in this series, but I think NRG might have more in it. Back onto the weapons again this time. Cirque will, of course, take over the AWP once more. And ooh, okay. Aggressive mid shot early. Pre-smoke, shoot above it, try and hit toward the rock. He's got the lineup and timing right. The problem is if they push that smoke right now. Oh, good lineup indeed. Takes down Def. I was going to say it doesn't have much support in the fact that it was a very passive hold instead from Rico at bottom mid with him, but a great shot to start it off.
So just like that, we do see them at a disadvantage. Cirque did take a lot of damage from that, though, so he's going to be relatively low at only sub 10 HP here to play off of after that encounter, but at least he gets the kill and makes it out alive, so we can still live to fight another day, at least maybe try to get one more quick kill before being traded back down. That's assuming Complexity even end up going out into the A site, which is probably not going to end up being the case. They've got a big stack of players leaning more so towards the other side. They're keeping the options open. They haven't really committed one way or the other just yet. They really just have the drop presence established. We see them doing that little bit of a crawl over towards the windowsill. Now they're going to look for additional ways to try and execute here. Cirque specifically trained on that windowsill position. Ready to spot them, and there we go. There's the pickup on Android. No damage also hit onto him. He's going to be allowed to fall back. Playing from a different position here now. Complexity, in the meanwhile, do finally get prepared to jump out onto the site.
Much better round from Cirque, changing his angle, making it work. He'll play inside sight. Good read from Slemmy. I don't agree with the positioning on that because Cannons is it's a good spot to catch anyone off rotating in from stables, but to be wide open from the top of middle, someone has to give that consideration because look at it falling apart as Slemmy gets in deep. What a round from him. Finds a second kill on Breeze. That creates a ton of space, and Peter will get a plant as a result, but has to hold off in 1 versus 2 with an AWP. Goes aggressive in trying to do so. There was a player toward the connector, and one coming from long as he hears ANJ. The lack of X-ray shows the element of surprise in which he receives. And ANJ makes no mistake. NRG will get 7th round.
And there we go. They are, again, continuing to just barely hold on to their lead here. We get very close to the end of the first half, but they've managed to maintain it. Usually about 2 or 3 rounds here, and they've been keeping that consistent throughout most of the half. Complexity come close to tying it back up and allowing themselves to get into the game here and take the lead, more importantly, off the T side, but they haven't had that chance just yet. But even after losing that round there, they're not going to find themselves broken. They still are able to fully rebuy into this one with the op in the hand of Peter, along with full utility in AKs for the rest of the team, too. So they're still in good position. They're still in good buys. NRG, on the other hand, are actually not looking so great. They had to downgrade a little bit here. They still end up with a pretty full buy, but if they lose this round for whatever reason, they will end up being put onto a relatively full eco before they get to the final round of the half on round 15.
Sorry, waiting again toward long. This is not the angle the Opera normally plays. Let's be honest. It's more aggressive. It sees toward the corner itself. It gets you the pre-fired angle. He's trying to be somewhat cheeky, but I don't know. I've not been impressed with him so much to say in terms of controlling the map from this position at the corner of long, rather. The best round he had, obviously, was when he went and pre-fired at the door. However, with the double op this time, they at least have some dynamics in the fact that A and J can be more aggressive on B. That said, if Cirque's going to solo toward A, they have to get a rotation early in the second op rather than anchoring the B long position and allowing a quick rotation from a secondary rifle as well as right now Rico to cover off drop and go for trades. He's playing KFC, which means both of the players in the rifles have to stay in the B site, which limits their positioning, and more so because they've given up drop early. It could be a problem when they wrap out. A&J does at least cover drop as a result of it, knows the situation is that they've given it up early but times it all wrong. That's not the play at all for the secondary op. That's not exactly how you want to utilize the position as Ye walks in. Second kill for him. Fugly finally trades him back, but they're down a man. And Def's going to go for the lurk to try and wrap around behind. He could, in fact, hold this site because Bomb has retreated and they're aware of it late. But Def can hear Rico, and that should secure the round in that kill alone.
Yeah, Fugly left alone here in a 1v3, and Complexity's successfully managed to circumnavigate around the map over here towards A. The bomb's not going to be... Oh, and wow, Peter even just clips off Fugly before he even gets a chance to get towards that site there. Finds him through the door. Nicely spotted. Doesn't even need to get the plant there. It's Complexity secure. Number 6 getting into some of these last rounds of the half. And like I was saying before, which is one round lost by NRG, it would completely break them here, forcing them onto an eco before they get to the 15th round. And I think that's what we're going to see happening. Most players at between $15,000 and $2,500. They just can't justify a buy-up here. It'll be a full save on round 14, which should allow Complexity to tie it up at 7-7.
Good win for Complexity in the last round. Again, I don't agree with that double op setup. The reason you want to anchor either sides, both of them long positions, is that you can swing the rifles and be a more focused unit in trading. If you're going to play a passive op on B, that's fine, but I don't agree with it if you're going to leave drop completely open. But hey, what do I know? Android X23 from Dragon Ball Z walks in, can't find Cirque in the corner, pistol kill again, swings out. I thought for sure he was due for another headshot, but Rico certainly is.
They're still holding this.
He pops out with a P250 to take down both Ye and Slemmy. And Def will take out Cirque by way of barbecue and then a bullet.
Def spawning up there, and you can hear that in the background too. Sir calling that out, they know they have the bomb for sure. Rico is going to be able to move in, and he closes out on those last 2 kills, giving it to NRG and securing at least an advantage coming out of the first half now.
Enrique Iglesias, not his name. Great round though, 4 kills, perfect traded angle at the bottom of middle. And then they got the AK, which came forward through the door after the aggression was initially there, and they were yelling that they had the bomb as well, so no need to get overextended. Rico, by the way, this has been his best game. Maybe changing back to his name was something that should have been advisable a little bit sooner, because he was rather subtle, I think, is a polite way of putting it in the first 2 games, but now he's been quite impressive on the A site.
That's been the case for him for the most part since he joined this roster. I think this is really the first day where I've seen him playing for this roster and really, seems to fit in well, seems to have a very dedicated role, and is performing his role very well too. So this is some good stuff from him, and I think is a large part of the reason why NRG are doing so well on this CT side now. Especially in that last round there, shows up as the hero to save NRG. And on a full eco, they upset against Complexity, stealing an 8th round. But still have 1 more to go in this half, and Complexity will start it off in their favor with Ye on that deagle again, finding an early kill onto ANJ, putting it into a 5v4 for Complexity.
Yay, out toward long with the deagle. You got to say it with enthusiasm.
Really?
Yeah,
is that the rule?
Yeah, it's like, well, I'm not going to go into those now. It's like how you say Scream's name. You're supposed to just yell. Do you not remember that one?
No, I was never.
I'll show you that.
I was never informed about this.
Yeah, we discussed that.
I didn't get the training.
A lot of training required as Def takes down Rico. He's in middle, but Cirque is certainly ready with the AWP again, playing a slightly different angle in toward A. Not yet transferring over toward the B site, where in which they are still a man down and losing ground. Fugly holds as he walks back out from drop, however, and that will make up for the loss as NRG looks to find 9 rounds on the CT side. It's still a 2 versus 2 as Peter takes Cirque back. Problem is the bomb is committed to B, and so too have the rotations arrived. A smoke that dissolves will reveal absolutely nothing in terms of peak position, but Android knows exactly where Fugly is still playing from behind the statue, and he can't afford to be aggressive with only 5 HP.
Now we're going to see Android quickly locking onto the head of Breeze to take him down, so it all falls to Fugly in a 1v2 to attempt to retake the odds. Not looking great for him, though, and Android with 1 more shot from the deagle closes it out. Complexity do bring it up to 7, and so we're going to be neck and neck at the end of the first half.
These cameras are cool, by the way, these little webcams. They're not obtrusive at all. They're not very large, and they
pretty high quality.
Decent job, yeah, I was going to say. Might have to get some of those and use them for, like, spy cams, you know? That's kind of creepy. Let's move on. 8-7. The chat said it was a 50-50 chance that these 2 teams would win. I guess that's not really a 50-50 chance, that it was a split decision, and I think that's exactly what we've seen so far. A good CT performance on a map that is actually T-sided, oddly enough, so we're still getting the disadvantaged sides with the advantages early, and I have to say, it was a good recovery from NRG considering the economy fell away from them quite quickly. Really unorthodox start to that half, though. Let's be honest. What was it, like 3 or 4 eco 4 spies, if you want to call them that?
It was all over the place for the first like 7 or 8 rounds. So So now we change sides, Complexity over to the CT side now. They're going to get aggressive here. They're going to push themselves into the mid connector. That could end up being problematic, though, because Breeze able to push in. Slemmy gets one kill. Breeze will trade it back, however, and Slemmy is stuck on the outside of the mid connector. Not able to do much. He just decides to smoke it back off. That actually won't find a whole lot of impact, however, at least until later on in the round here, as NRG do decide to call off the hit for the time being. They're going to back their players up a little bit towards mid and try to wait down the timer before they take any additional moves here, as they are still even in a 4v4. That will change now, however, with Def pushing out towards A long. He finds Cirque trying to crouch out to his position there. Easily takes him down. Ye will be blinded, but still finds a kill on Rico. Seconds later, though, Fugly also picks up another one, but that still allows for an advantage to be held in Complexity's favor at a 3v2 because of the earlier kill here at A long.
Breeze checks into stables. Shots from far and they connect. He'll take the headshot to Slemmy to pull us back even footing, 2 versus 2, and he'll spot out Def on rotation as well. He has not confirmed the site itself is clear, but he has read exactly where Def wants to go next, and Juliet says, no, I'm sorry, Romeo. Good shot from the P2, excuse me, not a P2, it's a US PS. Fugly has to clutch back. Has palm to do so, which is a massive benefit. And they've tried to pincer him in by getting deep inside of the site. Early good read by Def in doing so, and he'll walk directly toward it.
So Def shuts it down, and Complexity tie us up immediately by winning the pistol here at 8-8. Now the only question is, without the plant, does NRG decide to go a bit more aggressively into the buy this time and try to upset on the second round, or do they kind of respect this and continue the pattern of light buying? And it looks like they are going to go for the more aggressive one. Armor pistol buys across the board, and Jay will pick up utility. So they're going to look to upset this and keep control of their lead if they can accomplish this and send the half into chaos once again, just like we were seeing back in the first half.
As we get EA aggressive toward B main. Just the pistols, they don't need to go too aggressive in extension. They've given up a lot of room on drop, though, I have to say. This is an awkward position because PTR is locked out at stables. They've given up long, and it's essentially PTR versus 5 in the site. That's a massive oversight.
And now because of this one, they're going to have to give up a complete site control energy move in. They don't lose a single player. Obviously, Fugly very low, so that's going to leave him in a bit of a delicate position, but at the very least, they still have him up and running, and he can contribute to a certain degree here. Breeze as well. Just clotheslines Ye. Takes him out of the picture, and now knows Slemmy's pushing him too. Slemmy will get the better of him, though, in that exchange. But Cirque can push back out. The problem is Cirque's going to deal with pressure from both ways here in a second if he's not careful. He needs to be cautious of more aggressive movements like that, as they don't want to give away these players. Rico just caught out looking the complete wrong direction there. Android will find him. Slemmy and Android again, all picking up kills. ANJ reverses this with one of his own, and now just trying to waste time. They kill him, but Slemmy just jumped back down there. They're going to waste a little bit more time trying to get back up to the bomb. They should just be able to get it, though, assuming they had a kit.
Yep.
I think that'll secure round number 9 for them. There you go.
Both have kits, both are fine, and therefore they will indeed secure the round. It was making it hard for yourself 101 with Complexity. You go for an aggressive long with no information, no one's seen, and you have 3 players at B that have not spotted anything yet either. Drop completely open, and Peter's sitting in the most vulnerable position ever in essentially what becomes a 1 versus 5 inside of the site. It wasn't, I mean, the good news is, all right, you got fast rotations, but man, oh man, you give up a bomb plant, you give up a lot of space on the map, and some reinvestment as a result, which also means they've now got SMGs on 3 players, and they need to find some kills to build up some cash. Cash money, not the map blue. We've been over this. ANJ with a flash out, goes in aggressive. Rico's going to follow it up. Again, pistols finding space.
Nades, though, getting trades on 2 players, which is actually something you don't see very often. But Android is able to move in, finally gets a normal kill off of a rifle here, keeps the advantage in Complexity's favor. Android swings out, instantly headshots ANJ. Fugly just forcing the plant so that they could at least get the bonus money, and they do indeed get that. And now Fugly will try to do as much damage as possible, but that will equate to 0 damage done, essentially. Peter shuts him down immediately, and that's Complexity taking another one here now, going up 10-8. They've established a lead, now they're going to build upon it, and hope that NRG don't upset them again.
Only 1 rifle in the round, it's carried over, and Android makes great use of it. There'll be nothing more to salvage, though, is the point. He's trying to delay this bomb defuse so that they can run around and pick up any utility that is on the ground to strengthen what was lost in the previous, but it's rather small gains for what has been lost. Okay, they did actually find the FAMAS. I think he was trying to tell them where it was, and they didn't understand because he ran over and quickly identified it after the defuse. Even I had forgotten there was a FAMAS in play. Complexity with a 2-round lead. Map 3, winner of this moves on to the playoffs starting Saturday in their case, as we do Group 2 tomorrow. And the loser, unfortunately, bows out now in their ambitions of making it through to the Boston major in January will end. They'll have run out of gas on the road to Boston. Maybe the car just broke down and they had gas. Maybe they got a flat tire. There's many options, Blue.
Just totaled.
Written off. They're getting in an accident. That's a violent wish. I was trying to make it an unfortunate circumstance. You're making it, like, violently against them.
Yeah. It's that way it's a little more entertaining, you know?
Dear Lord. I thought I was sadistic. Apparently you're just sadistic. Malicious of intent.
You learn something new every day.
Like, do we?
One might say.
Well, 5 AKs going against the AWP from Moss, UMP, and then 2 M4s. And we finally get to a pace that seems normal, perhaps, for Cobble.
It seems so. NRG's going to try to reverse this, though, into their pace. If they can come out on top of this round, but they haven't shown their hand just yet, just making a whole lot of noise here and drop right now. Oh, but the CTs are going to try to pinch on it. Rico caught looking the wrong way. He goes down, and there is support for him, but he also gets eliminated from the top side. Def finds that kill. Yay with another one here, and they're very, very quickly knocking out the numbers from NRG. They only found one trait. Fugly's going to pick up a second, however, but he's now dead on the ground. NJ trying to tap at that range. Can get the kill, but he has to spend so much time on it that afterwards Android does take him out and secures round number 11 for Complexity.
The money staying low and the fact that they're having to reinvest so frequently on the Complexity side, that's one saving grace for NRG, but Complexity winning the first gun round as well and forcing them back onto pistols is going to be a massive issue, because if NRG can't establish economy fast enough, I think Complexity stretches the legs and actually gets away with this on the CT side, which again, for the third straight map, would mean the team that won the first half lost the game.
Yep. Just gets reversed on the sides. It would be the major difference.
Yeah, that's
here.
right. Yeah. Well, to be fair, Cobblestone I think is the only T-sided map we've played.
Yeah, that's true.
I think it's probably still the only T-sided map we have. You could argue that Cash was 9-6 T-side for a while. I haven't actually looked at that stat. A lot of teams have been putting that further and further down their map pool because it became so frequently played by other teams. So I think the stats might be a little bit skewed on that now.
We'll head back to this matchup here on this round. NRG go for a big stack of players over here to A-Long. No commitment yet. But with the investment towards all CZs, you can expect something very, very straightforward for them, as they have zero utility sitting behind this buy at all. It's basically just going to be a straightforward push inside, and we can see the only little bit they did bring to the table already being used. The door here, Slummy actually does get flashed out, so he's not going to have the greatest vision moving back in. You can see him spamming around the smoke, looking for something. Will get 2 kills. His teammate will push back into support of here too. He goes down. Android getting the double from back over here at the bottom of heaven. Fugly trying to spam at range, but can't get anything done. Def shuts it down. It's a clean round for Complexity, as they now sit just 4 rounds away from entry into the playoff bracket.
4 rounds away, and 4 rounds ahead of that of their opponents. Money available this time for NRG, and I think a timeout is much in order, so they will call one. Daps will get his contribution for 30 seconds, or 2 awarded as a benefit. And the fact that, of course, each team, yes, gets their own 30-second timeout, so does the opponent during that time. But the call revolves heavily, I think, around the buy. Yeah, and this is where I think as well, Cirque was... Again, he had 1 or 2 really good rounds, obviously through the door and then falling to the site to find the 2K and what was, I think, one of the only convincing gun round wins that they had on the NRG side. He wasn't, I guess, diverse enough. He wasn't adapting. He wasn't changing things up. And I think Peter actually should win out in that play style on this map for Complexity. A little bit more experienced is Peter, obviously, in that regard, and he is usually quite dynamic in the way that he plays anyway.
With the full investment coming in from NRG, their players are going to split up across the map here. Again, playing into the default, not committing to anything this early on in the round. They've kind of thrown that strategy away for the time being and choose to play a more standard style. And tease the problem is falling into that pattern. That's where Complexity is going to be able to easily read them and start to shut down these rounds. And it's getting shut down here.
That's interesting. That's actually quite a cool play. So double nade to force Cirque off the angle on the op. And then a very, very deep smoke. And even though they're not going to contest by getting aggressive behind the smoke, it gives Peter back the angle. And this is an angle, just to give you an example of the difference already, Cirque never took. Neither did Ange in the second op on the CT side when they were wielding the ops for NRG. I thought maybe they were going to get a little more aggressive with that deep smoke, but it still works to accomplish what they want. They wanted Peter to get the angle. And as soon as he gets the angle, what happens? Early rotation to A, second player to watch drop. It's almost like anchoring Banana on Inferno, if you will. He's just gotten so much information that they can actually afford to take gambles and get information elsewhere. The problem is they're not getting much of A right now. I'd almost like to see Slemmy fall back just a bit to cover off window side drop.
We're not going to see that everybody from Complexity, for the most part, holds on to their positions here. Slemmy still stuck in the A site here, too, due to Fugly at the very least keeping an active presence here. And oh no, the up-on-up battle goes by the way of PTR, so that is going to give this away and start to call for rotates. Fugly, though, will distract in the meantime, give him a little bit of room. It's amazing Peter stays alive for that long, but the T's come out on top of the fight at the end of the day. Slemmy was able to survive the onslaught, keeping himself in the fight. However, he doesn't realize it yet, but he might end up being pincered here if he's not careful. Fugly moves right in. Slemmy, though, gets the first kill, but does not react in time to Fugly, so he'll walk right in, closing it down, and finally giving NRG another round.
Credit to, I would like to see it, because credit to Slemmy for hitting the first shot on A and J, but I thought he was actually just going to turn and wait for Fugly. He was making a ton of noise. Like you say, though, gets pincered in, and unfortunately, even though PTR hits the first shot, he got very, very uncomfortable and pressured. Ye was able to get 2 to support, but he fired a second shot from the stairs that actually was at a dead body, and at that point he was done. There was no time he was going to get to reset the op and position accordingly. So they do overwhelm in the one position where they could. Good flash timing in doing so. And it's a 9th round for NRG that carries an op over for Cirque, but now look at the op setup for Complexity. They had such a great start. Double op, and Def will be the second man wielding, and he's going to try and bait in Slemmy.
The economy and management, again, here for Complexity is proving to be a bit of an issue on the CT side, is after just that one lost round, they're almost completely broken again. They don't have any money left over. It's like $300 or less on the team right now. So,
is that okay, fair enough. You're a genius, Slemmy. I thought he actually misbounced that smoke to blind off his own opera. Instead, it actually baits them into looking at the corner and trying to find 30, finds 2 kills directly in front. Fair play, Slemmy, as it works out. And I had it wrong. It was actually Peter that was trying to anchor it. Slemmy gets traded out. Peter stays alive, has all the information required to hold the corner, and makes no mistake doing so from the APC. Down to 2 remaining. Cirque makes up by getting a kill onto Android that will create some space, but Bomb, with 54 seconds still in their hands, is on the A side.
Peter's earlier kill, though, it's definitely made NRG panic a little bit here, and now they've been spread out. Slowly, he's been able to strip them down one by one. Already at 2 kills in this round alone here. Fugly left as the last man standing. He's going to make a clutch attempt 1v3. He's got a decent amount of time to play off of before he's forced to plant the bomb, but still has zero idea about where these players are going to be positioned at within the site, and essentially has to eliminate all 3 of them before he can really even safely plan. He might as well just go for the DM win here. Spots the one through the door, takes the first tool, and he'll come out on top of it too. So that has opened up a large portion of the site. Still may have to fight against at least one more player there before he's going to be safe about it. Depends on how aggressively they want to play it.
If Fugly, remember X-Ray off, you saw the shadow. You saw the shadow. So did Fugly. If he wins this, he's a god. Because he needs to pull this back for economic reasons. He's lost track of the second player, and if he backs up too far, keep an eye on the minimap. It's revealing because Def is already inside of the site. Shot missed from the op. Fugly knows it. He's going to try and peek this, even though it's against the
Oh my god, through the door, or through the tree.
What a shot. The flash high forces Def off, and somehow Fugly, I think maybe even a little bit of RNG to favor on the spray, gets the kill. That's remarkable. That is huge hero play from Fugly in a 1 versus 3.
What a huge risk he takes, too, just going up on top of the shed, just giving himself away to the opera, and then spamming through the tree, and you can see the dink right there.
Definitely, you could see it, but that was like outside of his crosshair. That was some RNG luck. I'll give him that. It still works. Look, brilliant enough to take the peek.
So it works out well for him, and that is going to be an instant pause, I believe, from Complexity. Just confirmed that it wasn't. Yeah, that was indeed Complexity. So they call for the pause here as NRG continue to close the gap again. Just 2 rounds away from tying it back up. We have a very, very close game on our hands.
I like what you called there. Trees are wooden, and doors are often made out of wood. So in some ways, maybe in a future life, that tree is a door.
Yeah,
right.
you know.
I got you.
We'll keep it spiritual in the cast.
Spiritual?
Yeah. In another life, that
okay.
that tree
That's
could have been
fair.
a door, you know. So the pause concludes relatively quickly. Both these teams being kind of brought to the edge of their economies here, too. You can see even with NRG winning that round, they only win it with 1 player left alive. So the buys certainly have to be sacrificed a bit. 2 Galils, only 2 players giving full utility stacks. Complexity obviously much worse off with just pistols and 1 scout buy on Def. They're working with scraps here. But we've seen plenty of upsets on buys like this throughout the course of this map. So I would not count Complexity out, especially with the amount of deagles they have.
Good round from Fugly. Spray control or a little bit of luck, take your pick. Doesn't matter. had the balls to go for the peek and pulls it off. Good reaction to spotting the shadow around the APC on the second of the 3 kills, as well as Def has the angle on a scout. Unfortunately, his complexity get whittled down. It was a 4-round lead. It could come to just 1. Cirque starts it off. Good shot on Peter.
Now it's all a matter of getting themselves into the sights, which they have good presence to try and do that here now. Still one obstacle standing in their way. They've already seen it though, yeah. Slemmy plays his hand a little bit too early. That's just going to net them another kill early on here for the remaining players on Complexity. We've got some of them pushed forward a bit more aggressively here, but NRG, I think, has realized that it's going to be a pretty heavy stack of players from Complexity towards the site, so they rotate it in the other direction. Android rotates in kind, too. And it's going to be able to hear the flash. The problem is that we won't know for certain. That could have just been 1 player or 2 players tossing that back out, so we'll call for the rotation just yet. Now he's realized it, but it's going to be a little bit too late as they push into the site to take control. He tries so hard to pick up at least 1 kill in the Deagle. Nothing will be found, though. Breeze knocks him out. And for Ye and Def, the best hope for them now is going to be for exit frags, posting up and trying to find a few of those, as the round is definitely out of their grasp here. NRG should go up to 11, just 1 away from the tie.
And this time as well, they do it efficiently. Important aspect of building back into the game T side. This Complexity has certainly lost momentum. Ooh, I thought he might, but
I think the steps scared him off from trying it.
Yeah, well, it was probably better he didn't try because he was turning just as he would have come into contact. If it was config, he would have done it.
That's very true.
Bomb to detonate. Def will at least hold on to the scout. Armor to go along with it.
Not necessarily a massive achievement getting away with that, but...
No, because, yeah, they were essentially in double eco territory, so they can partial buy and bring up pistols around this, but it's still looking 12-12. I think they're actually going to go... Okay, so they'll bring pistols with no armor as opposed to bringing out both. So they still keep the money a little bit stronger in doing so. Power to them.
This is going to cause their players to spread out again, too. Def tried to push in aggressively towards the mid-connector here, but got pushed out of it pretty quickly. Decides not to stick around there for too long. They also have the presence aggressively established. This other part of the map over here at A2, so they have plenty of aggression to spare on that side of the map. NRG very much kind of playing this down to the timer, looking for picks early on. So they're just going to mob up, and I think now we'll start to see a much bigger group of them slowly look to execute over here to drop.
Going to lead the way. Android with the passive angle. You're right, it is the platform. Android peeks out early, gets shots in, damaged it as well, and somehow
he's got a double.
2. Shot through with a Deagle as they were blinded up. Breezy gets an immediate trade, but don't call it an even trade. Look at the damage as well. Cirque's on 4. Another unorthodox round where in which pistols may find the win. Tag as well on a Breezy from the scout. Could have gone to the pistol and done all the rest, but Ye might do so, finding Cirque. And Slemmy's pincering off from the rock. They can't go both directions. It's going to be an immediate position by in which they're pincered. They've brought it down to just Slemmy, but Slemmy's the P250. Breezy with 5 HP gets an ace, believe it or not. But it's a holo ace in the fact that it shouldn't have gotten that far.
Yeah, that's another round where it's really just a massive upset and that it never should have gotten that far to begin with here. We almost see another basically a full eco upset coming out from Complexity, but they fall short right at the very end of it. Only 5 HP left over on Breeze, and he is the one thing that saves NRG in that round there. It probably would have fallen apart a heck of a lot quicker had he had gone down in that opening volley there, so it's a good thing he does survive as he keeps it rolling there for the NRG roster, keeps them in control of things, and now has tied the game up at 12-12 as we get into the next gun round.
Goes down in front of the door at mid. PTR backs off. He can afford to stay exposed to his left. Map, you would realize immediately. Slemmy is still covering A long. Meanwhile, it's a more aggressive stance toward the B platform and direct as both Ye and Def are in position.
Early on here, though, NRG are going to be pushed out of the B hall, so they are looking for options to execute closer towards A this time instead of just fully committing themselves. You'll note here, too, look at all this info that Complexity is going to be able to get. Ye's allowed to push all the way up towards platform, right to the very edge of it, so he's going to know for certain that there's basically zero presence at B. We'll still have to wait on that judgment until this smoke fades away in case anyone pushes out after the fact, but if they don't see anything there, I think it's going to be a safe call for them to send at least a couple of players and rotate them over towards A. since there's not spawning any presence at all here towards the B site at this point in time.
Slummy. Push toward A long in position as EA. With Def still holding drop inside directly, we'll watch out to see if there'll be any pressure, but no presence shown. It's got to give some sort of inkling that there will be presence toward A direct. Look how passive Complexity is, though. No information. Again, there's not a lot you can do on the CT side, but you've got to be able to find information. Good, fair enough from Peter to find the opening shot of the AWP.
Now we are going to see more of them moving back up, trying to take some control here. They're still going to have to deal with Peter, though, who's now fallen back to the platform, but he misses a shot. It's going to send him even further back here. His teammates now need to come back in. They've got a 2-for-1 trade up on the platform, on the site itself here. Rico looking to trade that gets it into the inside of the sidewalk there, takes him down. PTR, though, trades once again, and the time is completely run out here. There's no hope at all for NRG to get up onto the site. Complexity will win it on the timer, and they'll hold on to their lead just barely, and even better, they kill NRG after the timer has expired, so his money is going to be pretty imbalanced from the rest of the team now.
Yeah, and Cirque's already low as well. He's on 1650, so the fact that Breeze had so much money could have dropped out potentially, but they won't be able to compensate for the fact that two players are in a rather precarious position, in fact. So they'll get one SMG up for Rico and two CZs to go along with their arsenal. Complexity could stretch back out into a 2-round lead to make it 14-12. Smoke's down early as well. This looks to be a fast B execution. They've already got Molotovs to the stairs. Additional smoke. If Def reads this right, he can get behind them. Good find. And he's not blinded up. He can easily mow them down. Great positioning from Def.
Beautifully played, and unfortunately for NRG, they just completely misread the scenario. They don't even realize that he's up there until it's far too late, and those last two players push themselves out, and NRG just gets completely wrecked by Peter on the push. This is much, much better for Complexity. They're taking back control, and they're taking it back quick now, only 2 more rounds away from winning the series.
Well, either way, it now sits to the advantage based on Def's position. To Complexity, and the money's still not great. They're going to have to play for overtime on the NRG side. They, remember, did beat Complexity this morning. They would split maps today between them, 2-2, even if they lose this, and yet they would be the team that falls in the best of 3. So, bit of a position that they were hoping not to find themselves in. In fact, after map 1 of this series even, and based on their win this morning, I thought maybe they had a shot, an outside chance at the second spot in this qualifier, but not so certain now. I obviously, to be completely transparent with you, in full disclosure, I think Liquid is the absolute favorite in this event.
I think that's a pretty safe bet.
Don't discount CLG. Tomorrow's group. Misfits here by the absence of the Francais Canadien. But with Shazam and Sean Gears, never know what they can bring to the table on LAN.
Especially after they had that one surprise performance back at Tours earlier this year. They've kind of had a falling off since then, but if they can bring it back to that point, then they're going to be dangerous to mess with, especially if the French brothers show up there too. Almanek and Devoduvek.
Devoduk? Is it Devoduvek? Is that correct? Oh,
Devoduvek.
Devoduvek. En français, oui. Slummy. Good spray down. Takes down Thugly. Rico takes down Breezy and NRG and taps it out for the ace. Slim Dogger.
Smooth as well. Nicely done by Slummy. 1 magazine on the FAMAS, and then he switches over to the pistol to close it out. Let's take another look at that. Beautifully done. Spraying away. Doesn't matter that he's at low HP. Still, just nicely whips onto that last head there to be able to take him out, and that sets Complexity up at round 15. Map and series point here to push Complexity into the playoff bracket on Saturday. They just need to win this one final gun round, and this last, potentially anyway, big investment coming in from NRG. They don't even get the op behind it either. It's just going to be 5 AKs and pretty lackluster utility, just smokes and flashbangs, and they have 1 additional molly besides the one they threw sitting on Rico.
Ready to roll. Slummy once more. Confidence instilled after the last round, perhaps, even though it was, yes, just an anti-eco, but FAMAS in a close proximity with Cirque on the other side. So too is Rico and Breezy. They're trying to read the steps somewhere. Slummy's gone. They know he was certainly there. They heard the cue, and he was on the other side of the wall, but I think they've lost track of exactly where he's playing from.
He's going to very loudly try to push himself up to the top of the steps, though, but this is primarily just to get out of there. He knows it's a bit of a hot spot hiding out in suicide steps, so he's going to decide to fall away from this one. Get himself further back and away from this. and decide to play further into the site in a different position here now. Making a little bit of noise there at the barrel too. I'm not sure if that was intentional or not.
I think it seemed intentional in the way that it was done.
Oh,
no. I think, PTR caught out inside of the murder hole.
That.
Absolutely not. No movement mechanics inside of the vent. And this could actually amount to the round 4 NRG as a result, because Android gets found by Cirque. They find themselves in the 2-man advantage. I think he was trying to bake that he dropped off the other side of the boost.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure. I'd have to see the positioning again from a secondary team in the site. But they're going to save on the complexity side. We'll go at least one round further, make it to round 29. We may, in fact, need all 30. Because complexity saving early.
With that save, though, they actually finally built up a decent amount of cash, though, so they are going to be good to fully rebuy into it. NRG are not out of the hot seat just yet. They still have to buy through at least one more full investment coming out from complexity, and of course the force buy on what would be the final round in round 30 if they want to tie this up, take it to OT, and still have a chance to win this series now. Those last two from complexity should be relatively safe. It's a bit of a predictable spot to save on, so I'm sure NRG are going to push towards it in a second here. Indeed, that'll be the case. It's just not so easy to push right into the open against that, so a few more players going to get dropped here from NRG, I'm sure. At least one, as we can see with ANJ going down. The others, though, do decide to not pressure outside.
There's no point.
So they can't do much about taking down a player that's hiding in Rapunzel.
Pre-aimed on an op, like you're not gonna win that duel.
Yeah.
You'd have to hit a one-hit wonder with the AK, and there's no need. They don't need to do so. They need to play for overtime at this point and save all the guns they have. There's money on the complexity side no matter what, so it's not going to benefit them into this round directly as it is. So good decision not to pursue any further. Round 29 will be a full force gun round on either side.
Said before, the full investments for both teams is they're going to be still good and well set up to fight in this what could be one of the final rounds again. The complexity. After taking that pause, we'll be ready to jump back into it. Just using their last bit of pauses here before we get into it. And now we can jump back into the game and get to see once again if complexity can close out here. Unfortunately, just getting surprised by the rapid pace with NRG moved in and took control of the A site that time, along with a few players just getting unlucky, like PTR. They're getting hit by the Molotov. So there's very little he could do to try to counter that out.
Flashes as well. AJ's out and in. Somehow not detected. Surely they spot it, but can't find the spray. Ye holds his patience and temper to wait for him to arrive at the other side of the statue instead, but watch the break play through connector. They're going to try and isolate rotations and beat them into the side of the A site. Good catch from Cirque, better shot from Rico, and they've succeeded in their attempt to compensate the A.
Another save call from complexity immediately there, as we can see their players falling back further and further into B. They're not going to be attempting this. It means it will go all the way to round 30, and complexity know they need to save at least a few of these rifles since they don't have the capacity to fully rebuy all 5 of their players. They won't even make an attempt at the retake. They're just going to bow down to NRG there. It was a great play from them. And they successfully outwit complexity here in this round, bringing them up to 14 and taking this match all the way to round number 30, all the way to the end of regulation to decide whether complexity will end it here or whether we go to OT to figure things out.
What a comeback from NRG as well. Break down the economy. Force buy obviously impending based on the save, and they'll be able to succeed in bringing out 5 weapons, but complexity looked like they finally had control. They'd broken them down. They'd asserted dominance even with many situations in cover and crossfire setups toward A and both B and rotations, and now NRG finally getting rolling in what you might have expected sooner from them in this series. 23 kills for Breezy leads the way. 29 overall for none other than Slimdog Millionaire.
And Def and Android not super far behind at 24 and 20 kills respectively for those two here. So last time out, I think, going to be used here now, this time coming from NRG. I'm sure both the teams are probably happy that there is a timeout. So both of them probably wanting to discuss this last execute in length. Complexity, due to the save, still end up with full strength on their buy. NRG will be, of course, in the same position due to the fact that they've been dominating these last couple of rounds through their very quick play style that Complexity hasn't been able to handle as of yet. See, you can probably hear it too. Peter getting hyped up over there on the other side, trying to hype up his teammates.
Peter doing Peter.
Trying to close things out here instead of taking this to OT. But let's see if they can indeed accomplish that.
Peter with fast position toward long B. Throws a flash. Rather than a smoke, it's smoked off in turn, and then his teammate actually addresses it. So they were trying to get position early. Cirque Don't tell me he's going to go straight
I
contact.
think they're
That's
gonna go for
bold.
this.
They are. In fact, they're jumping around. Peter's trying to hold from stairwell. Does take the shot, not bite the shoulder. Bait turns around and Breezy down as well. They don't respond to his position in time, and somehow still alive. He's buying space for rotation, and they find themselves complexity as a result. One man up, make it double, just one to find. Fugly lost in the smokes.
Fugly going to have to try and clutch this out now, 1v3, and he's stuck in his position too, not being given a whole lot of room to maneuver with here. As he'll attempt to sneak around, looking for at least one player to take back down. You can hear the spam coming from the player back over there at Rock, but now he's going to be pushed from the other side. He's got to be very, very careful about this one as he pushes forward, trying to brute force his way past player. Block gets that kill, spins around for one more, and now brings it into a 1v1 against Android to decide, but no, Android will deny it, and that's Complexity that'll win it 16-14 in round number 30. They take the series 2-1 and move forward into the playoff bracket.
What a series, first off. That's a great ending, and what a godlike effort from Fugly. That's heartbreaking to lose that. First off, he won a 1v3 earlier in this game to get the economy back in control. He reads perfectly when he peeks out that two players are pushing from behind, and they're trying to push him toward the rock so that he has nowhere to get cover. So instead he says, all right, you want me to go that way, I'll go. Finds the kill, turns around, second headshot. I thought he was going to win that 1v3, and that would have been unbelievable. But NRG, a little bit short in the end. Great game, great effort. But overall, I mean, Complexity dug deep, found a lot of skill, I think, on individual players. Slemmy stepping up at this map, I think, highlights exactly what they needed. If he's going to be the leader and he's struggled with kills in the past, for him to step up and find 29 in the deciding game, it's pretty remarkable.
Yep, so that's a momentous effort from Complexity to bring it back after, unfortunately, the way that they ended the first map here, too. I think there was discussion about how, especially considering that NRG kept on that same side going into the second map, that momentum was just going to carry them through and give it to them in a pretty easy 2-0 fashion, but that did not end up being the case at all.
Sorry, I was going to say, and just convincing 2-0 fashion, but think how sloppy some of those rounds were from both sides. I mean, even though it would have been a 2-0, these are both teams that need to really tighten up in a lot of facets. I mean, throughout the whole series, there was 9 probably eco or force buy wins, at least. 6 probably on Cobblestone alone.
Yeah. I'd say it's relatively safe. The entire first half was just a complete mess for the first quarter of the matchup there when we were seeing it just go back and forth until we got to around round 10 or so, where things finally stabilized a little bit and became more of a normal match.
Yeah, no, I mean, I wouldn't call it normal. It was definitely getting to more positional. I think the CT side positioning from Complexity actually made more sense. I think Cirque needed to be more dynamic on the NRG CT side because, again, he was playing pretty much only toward A, and they weren't really playing positions that favored each other in terms of when Ange hit the second op and how they wanted to cover off positions. They let a lot of map control go toward drop, and I think that really cost them more. His Complexity was a little bit tighter in that regard, and it was, I think, a better team game in that regard. We'll take a look at the bracket. Group 1. Group A, as Blue's been calling it, and actually correctly, so damn it, I had it backwards, is done. And Team Liquid obviously breezing through 16-5 over Team 1 and 16-5 again over NRG, who then dropped down to face off against Complexity. Complexity, the other part of this being close in this third map, this third series for them and the deciding series, was that Team 1 actually gave them a reasonable effort on the lower bracket.
Yeah, they came very close as well to taking either one of those maps and sending it over to a third one to decide it, but just couldn't manage to claim either of those. So Complexity pushed forward, and Complexity had a very hard day here too. I mean, you just look at the amount of matches they had to play. They had to play that single best of one, which went to overtime against NRG. Then they played the 2 maps, so very long maps against Team 1, and then they play a second best of 3 in the same day as well here against NRG. So props to them for keeping their strength through that and managing to come out on top here, taking it all the way to map 3 and then winning it, just denying that clutch at the very end of it on round number 30 and winning it out 2-1 here.
So Complexity and Liquid through from Team A are America's Minor Day 1 done. They'll play in the playoffs on Saturday. It gives them tomorrow to shape up, perhaps address some of the issues if Complexity wants to look back on their games. For Liquid, I'm not sure how much you could really take away from 2 16-5 dominant wins other than confidence. That said, we move on to our road to Boston tomorrow to Group B, Group Boston, as it's actually named in full. CLG, Misfits, Luminosity, Rise Nation, in that order we start off tomorrow. And CLG going against Misfits, who didn't actually qualify for this event. They were given a spot when French Canadians couldn't make it.
Well, they had to. They still had to play. There was a mini bracket that got played between 3 teams, and they came out on top of that.
Fair enough. I'll give you that. They did earn it afterward, but they didn't get it on the first chance.
Yeah. So and then so I believe that'll be what we'll be seeing tomorrow, of course, and then we have the playoff bracket on Saturday too, which you can now start to see forming up there. Of course, not a whole lot here just yet, but we do have Complexity taking the lower seed position and Team Liquid taking the top seed position. The lower seed from tomorrow will play against Team Liquid, and the top seed from tomorrow will play against Complexity there, and that's the way that those semifinals will fill out. And then, of course, we still have the double bracket to play out over the course of Saturday and Sunday. We'll get to the completion of that. We'll get all the way to the grand finals and claim our NA Minor champion and the 2 teams that'll move forward into the main
Exactly
qualifier,
that.
of course.
And that has to be the primary objective for any of these teams. Look, they want to make it to the major qualifier. Liquid especially want to make it to the major. They were gutted when they didn't make it to the major last time. In fact, they then went to Cologne and played as if they had a chip on their shoulder. Didn't actually make it through to the playoffs, but looked pretty solid in the group stages. Oddly enough, it was Cloud9 that made the final of that, for those of you who don't remember, against SK. But it's the primary goal. You've got to get to the qualifier. This is all about the road to Boston and being in Boston in January. Yes, okay, there's prize money on the line for first place, and arguably, depending on how they decide to align the bracket for the qualifier, maybe something in the seeding. I wouldn't push too hard into that because it is such a loose sort of depth of field in terms of the teams that will be at that qualifier. But again, you make it to the final, that's job done for this event in per se of short-term goals. Yeah,
and so that's going to do it for us today, guys. Be sure to join us tomorrow as we continue the play on Group B. But thanks very much for tuning in today. And once again, we'll see you tomorrow here for more action live from the Americas Minor.